1930s and 40s Europe was a very dangerous place to live for many people. The rise of totalitarian fascist regimes shifted the course of history to its darkest point. Life suddenly changed for entire groups of people, solely because of their religion, ethnicity, or race. This oppressive climate gave legendary status to stories like that of Jesse Owens, a black athlete who won 4 Olympic gold medals during the 1936 German Olympics. However, there is an untold story, a journey of an African-American boxer who amidst this tumultuous time achieved stardom and success in the heart of Nazi occupation. This is the story of Jimmy Lyggett. Jimmy Lyggett Sr. was born in a predominantly black neighborhood of Philadelphia in 1897, a time when the black population still suffered from widespread segregation and racism. These conditions led to ostracized communities, resulting in high crime rates, poverty, and drug addiction. Although little is known about his childhood, Jimmy Lyggett started boxing at the age of 17, quickly demonstrating talent and climbing the ranks. During that time, the sport was still heavily segregated between black and white boxers, with a predominantly white audience intent on maintaining the status quo. He knew he couldn't prove himself any further in a segregated society, so he decided to continue his career in Europe, aiming to establish himself as a world-class boxer. Throughout his career, he faced several top European boxers, most notably German boxer Max Schmeling, who held the World Heavyweight Championship title between 1930 and 1932. Schmeling won their first encounter, and they drew their second one. But after their second fight, Lyggett became Schmeling's sparring partner for a while. He ended his career as a professional boxer in the early 1930s and started drifting across Europe, trying to establish himself as a boxing trainer. While residing in Vienna, Austria, he met Rosa, an unsuccessful Croatian actress, and fell in love with her. Their love quickly blossomed into a marriage, and the couple moved to Zagreb, Croatia in the 1930s. There, he was seen as a kind of a bizarre sensation, the only black man in town, trying to establish a culture of boxing. The Croats found him endearing, and he quickly became a beloved citizen of Zagreb. He trained several prominent boxing clubs in Croatia, one of the most noteworthy being Maccabi, a Jewish club based in Zagreb. A Holocaust survivor and the Zagreb resident at the time, Imre Rochlitz, described Lyggett in his book Accident of Faith. The star of the Maccabi club was without question the boxing coach. Although I was not at all attracted by the sport, this particular coach exerted a powerful hold over me. He was the first American I had ever seen. Most of the young people in the club, including me, were starry-eyed about the United States. We often used the word America to describe anything wonderful or unique. A beautiful girl, a delicious cake, or fine new shoes could qualify for the superlative America. We were therefore all immensely proud of our coach, whose name was Jimmy Lyggett, probably the only black American then living in Zagreb. He was something of a celebrity around town, a status he seemed to enjoy. I never actually screwed up the courage to speak to him, but I often loitered in his vicinity, watching him coach in fluent Serbo-Croatian and generally basking in his Americanism. An interesting snippet in Lyggett's life, and the reason that we have footage of him at all, is a little-known fact that Lyggett had a small boxing role in Georg Wilhelm Pabst's 1928 silent movie The Devious Path. The reason why this fact is so obscure is because his last name was misspelled in the credits, spelling Lyggett instead of Lyggett, but this in fact was the protagonist of our essay. When World War II started, Croatia, then part of First Yugoslavia, was invaded by Axis powers on April 6, 1941, following a Yugoslav coup d'etat that overthrew the pro-Axis government. Yugoslavia was divided between Axis countries, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Albania and Bulgaria. Most of Croatia, however, became the independent state of Croatia, a puppet state of Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. Throughout its existence, the state was governed by a totalitarian fist under the fascist Ustaša organization and their leader Ante Pavelić. Like their puppet masters, the independent state of Croatia adopted racial laws that primarily targeted Jews, Serbs, and the Romani population. Jimmy Lyggett, who was, as a black man, an anomaly in a totalitarian fascist regime, was appointed as the trainer for the Croatian national boxing team due to his prior success. But besides his previous achievements and the beloved status within the community, what also aided his survival during this period was the fact that Lyggett held strong anti-communist views. He achieved significant success during this time. However, an interesting fact is that he never accompanied his boxers in fights outside of Croatia. This was mainly because the state feared the opinions of their wartime political allies, who may have objected to a black man holding such a significant role in a popular sport at the time. Nevertheless, in his hometown of Zagreb, he remained beloved and respected, never encountering any real problems due to his skin color. As the war raged on, it became increasingly evident that the German-Italian-led war machine was nearing its end. Before the war's conclusion, his brother invited him to return to the United States. Despite being an anti-communist, Jimmy believed he could continue his career as a trainer even if the communists came to power. "I am much better off here than in my homeland, and I was never interested in politics anyway. Boxing is my whole life, and I can do that here more freely than in America." He held no political affiliations or war-related sins, but as a prominent figure in Croatian sports, he did possess a symbolic connection to the regime. Reluctantly, he accepted his brother's invitation and persuaded his wife Rosa to relocate to the United States. In 1945, they embarked on a journey to the United States via Italy. However, traveling across the Atlantic by ship wasn't as readily available then as it is now, partially, of course, due to the ongoing conflict. They waited for months for a ship to take them to Boston. Unfortunately, while waiting, his wife fell seriously ill and passed away in Milan. Losing the love of his life shattered Lyggett, and he returned to the United States alone and devastated. Little is known about his life after his return, but most sources say he wasn't involved in boxing anymore. He was living a quiet life, grieving the deceased love of his life. According to the Ring magazine, he died somewhere in the United States in 1955.